What's up, guys? This is Jeff with iDownload Blog. You knew it was coming. It was inevitable. Indeed. Kindle Fire versus iPad 2. We're going to do a couple of non-scientific tests. The first test, of course, is the power-up test to see how long it takes the device to turn on. So I'm going to turn both devices on at the same time, holding both power buttons simultaneously. And it is loading up for both devices right now. Kindle Fire was kind of slow, but I held them down at the same exact time, so I just was slow in turning on for whatever reason. But both devices are now on their way back up. Let's see which one comes up first. Up! The iPad is already up and ready. Is the Kindle Fire coming? No, it's not. It's still loading. So we'll see here. So iPad is definitely done. It is much quicker than Kindle Fire with regard to booting. I have more apps installed on the iPad 2 as well, and just overall doing a lot more on the iPad 2. So Kindle Fire is finally up now. There we go, right to the lock screen there. And now let's unlock the device. What should we do now? Well, of course you know what we should do now. Of course, we're going to do a web test, a speed test over the same Wi-Fi connection. Again, it's not the most scientifically accurate test in the world, but it gives us a general idea of what we can expect in general. So I'm going to go ahead and clear all the cookies, all the cache out on the Kindle Fire. Just doing that right now. You can see this definitely looks like Android right here in the settings for the web browser, Amazon Silk. I'm going to do the same thing with Safari. Go into the settings, clear my history, clear cookies and data, and I think we should be good to go. So let's go ahead and get this test underway. But first of all, let me go ahead and clear all the tabs out as well. I'm going to turn private browsing on, close all tabs, turn it back off, and make sure all tabs are closed. Let's go ahead and close all the tabs here on Amazon Silk. So I'm going to close all those tabs out, and there we go. So now we should be good to go. So let's open up a web browser, and I typed in iDownload Blog right here on the Fire, and iDownload Blog right here on the iPad 2. So now we can hit go at the same exact time on both devices and see what each device is working with right now. So are you guys ready? We're going to go ahead and get everything into position here, and we're going to tap go at the exact same time on both devices. Here we go. Okay. Now we're off to the races. The iPad 2 is storming ahead, and down the stretch they come. Okay. And then we see the Kindle Fire is catching up. Now, keep in mind that the Kindle Fire is loading Flash, so you have to kind of give that a little benefit of the doubt there. It looks like the iPad 2 is completely done. The Kindle Fire is still trying to load a couple of advertisements, but those are Flash advertisements, as you can tell right there. So I think they're pretty close as far as the page loads go. As far as the smoothness of the scrolling, obviously there's a huge difference there. Nothing competes with the iPad when it comes to smoothness of scrolling. So yeah, so let's try to load up another link here. What about this top link right here at the top? Let's load that and see what happens. And the Fire is storming along right there, and it is still loading. The iPad is done, and the Fire is still trying to struggle with those advertisements. But as far as content goes, the content loaded about the same exact time as the iPad 2. So you're not going to notice a huge difference between the two devices with regard to web browsing speed and things like that. But you have to keep in mind that the Fire is loading up Flash. Now for our final test, let's try Netflix. I'm going to load up the Netflix app right here at the same time. Here we go. And the iPad 2 is a little bit faster in the initial load here. You can see Netflix is practically already loaded on the iPad 2. It's done on the iPad 2. It's still loading on the Kindle, and it's done on the Kindle. Notice the new interface. This is the new interface for Android. That should be coming to the iPad fairly soon, so look for that. It's a very nice new interface. Now let's just search for a particular movie. I'm going to compare the streaming on these two devices. It's kind of clunky, the interface here on the Kindle Fire, just overall. The keyboard, it's kind of hard to see what I mean. Just, I don't know. You can tell it's a 1.0 device, but it still works fine. So let's search for Curious George on both devices, and there it is on the iPad 2. And let's get it up on the Kindle Fire here. Let's backspace a little bit and type Curious. There we go. All right, so there's Curious George on the Kindle Fire. So we should be good to go. So let me just show you guys that is same video. Curious George there, Curious George here. I'm going to load both of these at the same time. Now, watch what happens. You're going to be surprised when you see this. Okay, Kindle Fire is loaded and it is playing right now. So it's already done on the Kindle Fire. Now it's done on the iPad 2. I'm telling you, the Kindle Fire, when it comes to video, this thing is blazing fast. Netflix is extremely fast. I don't know if it's the new interface for Netflix or if it's just the fact that it's running on the Fire. I'm not sure, but it's a lot faster on the Kindle Fire, believe it or not, bar none. So let's check out some more comparisons between the two devices here. Let's just check out the physical comparisons. There is the Kindle Fire versus the iPad 2. Kindle Fire is much smaller. The iPad 2 is also thinner. And as you can see, the entire body of the Kindle Fire fits within the screen with room to spare on the iPad 2. So there is a good comparison of the two devices. The Kindle Fire is a 7-inch device versus the 10-inch iPad 2. Let me know what you think about this one in the comment section, folks. This is Jeff with iDownload Blog.